Hey, good people. Davia here, and welcome to Tales from the Shaker, a Davia Williams Stevenson podcast. I am looking forward to this conversation as well today. I have a powerful young brother who has found some time in his busy life between the work you're doing in the community, between your legal practice, between raising these beautiful little girls and being a husband and all these things, to come and sit with me for y'all's benefit. So I know strongly, I'm confident in my soul that you're going to hear something in this conversation that's going to motivate you to shake some things up in your own life. So let me introduce you to my guest today. His name is Sean Walton, Esquire. Are you junior? Sean
yes,
Walton, junior.
Yeah, junior, yep.
Esquire. And I'm going to read a bit of his resume. It's a 30-minute show, so I'm going to skip around a little bit, but I want you to get a flavor for this man's heart and for his work. And I say for his courage as well. I am really, really honored to have you here. So Sean is a highly respected attorney and civil rights advocate who has spent his career fighting for justice and equity. He has won numerous high-profile cases and has been recognized for his tireless commitment to his clients and his community. Sean takes pride in helping people move through tragedy to triumph. I love that, through tragedy to triumph. So in this legal landscape, this bustling legal landscape that you're a part of, you stand out. And I think the word that we should use is formidable. And you're just getting going as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I think there is much. I think you will be. I know you're on the national scene, but not like you're about to be. I really believe that. And I think it's not just because of your legal prowess. This is me talking about why I invited him here. I didn't invite him here just because of his resume. I invited him here because of his courage and his character that I see displayed throughout the community and the work that you're doing. So I'm bopping around your resume a little bit, but I wanted these people to know, and I wanted you to know why it was so important to me. And I'm so thrilled to have you here. I think there's a lot of young people, young and old alike, who are going to be motivated by your courage, by your consistency, by your heart for our community in particular. You're doing a lot of things. You wear a lot of hats, and so I want to get into some of that. Ain't none of them been easy. Like, dang. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But your law career is marked by a unique blend of strategy, innovation, and a deep understanding of civil rights, personal injury, and wrongful death cases. I know that you're married to love of your life, Jennifer. Yes. The two of you are also entrepreneurs. You've co-founded her marketing company, which also has very similar focus. There's a lot of synergy in where your hearts are for the community. You have Ground and Grind. You all did a photo shoot there at Ground and Grind. It's a beautiful social community, and I'll have you talk about. You'll describe it better than I will. And I just heard on the side. We'll get to it about something else that you'll be doing as well. So, yeah, on another piece of paper, here we go. I talked about a few of your accolades. The Coca-Cola Darwin T. Turner Scholar from the University of Cincinnati. That's from your bachelor's degree in political science with a focus on African-American studies, which makes sense. All that makes sense to me. A Presidential Merit Scholar from your law school. And then you were later celebrated, I remember this, as a graduate of the last decade of your school's alumni association. This is your law school alumni association. It's a big deal. You've gotten the Poindexter Award from the Columbus City Council, a barrister salute. I mean, it's on and on and on, and I'm going to stop here. You're an alpha. My husband is an alpha too, so shout out. Yeah, your impact. There's pages I can read, and I'm going to stop here. Some of these things will come out as we talk. I will say that I also had your beautiful wife on last season.
Yes,
and she is fun and dynamic, and
my better half.
Conversation. The two of you are an incredible team.
Yeah,
you really are an incredible team. I love how, as I see you out and about in the community, you're always uplifting each other's individual pursuits. And it's fun to see those places where you bring your individual talents together, the synergy that you two have. And those little girls.
They are the real stars.
Those little girls.
Yeah, my heart.
Brilliant and confident little girls.
Yeah.
So I commend you on being a good father, a dedicated husband, and an advocate for our people.
Thank you so much.
So if you want to talk, you can. I guess I'll shut up and like.
Yeah, no. I just, no, I appreciate
I'm just
it.
proud.
Yeah,
I'm just proud,
yeah. No,
know?
and it means a lot to hear that. So I was listening and locked in. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And so what I was talking to you about, little B-roll time while we were making our drinks, is what I want people to get a lot of times from these conversations. Yeah. And I want to make sure they see who you are, your accomplishments and all of that. And we want to uplift any particular mission, or I totally left off NAACP. We'll talk about that in a minute, President-elect. But what I want people to come away with is things that I believe inspire people. Or how do you keep going? Yeah. How did you decide? What is your why? Yeah. And how that why carries you through those things that oppose us, whether it be our own negative thoughts, or for you as a public figure, folk are coming at you.
Yes, it's been hot lately.
In some hard spaces.
Yeah, it's been hot lately.
So let's talk about the last case that you just won.
Yeah, Casey Gusson Jr.
So one thing I don't have to worry about is you saying anything that's going to get yourself in trouble, because you know how to handle all of that.
For sure.
But that went on for some time. Tell me a little bit of the history of the Gusson case.
Yeah, so Casey Gusson Jr. was shot and killed by Franklin County Sheriff's Deputy Jason Meade, December 4th, 2020. Here we are in 2026, and we just got a conviction for reckless homicide. When that happened, I was 34, and now I'm 40, and you don't realize until you take a step back just how much time has passed. Like, I've watched Casey. He was the oldest of 10 siblings. I've watched his siblings grow up. I've watched them evolve. I've watched how this has impacted them, and it's really a microcosm of all my cases throughout my entire career. You mentioned helping folks through tragedy into triumph. And it's not always triumph, I think, not in the traditional sense. You have to find the wins along the way. But with the Gusson case, it was really different because it was at the end of 2020. And so we know what happened, May, June 2020. Yeah. And I think that really made a difference because we were in the pandemic and this happened and there wasn't any video. And it kind of became mythological in a way because you didn't have video, you didn't have witnesses either. And it's actually the first that I've been able to find, first incident in the country where you've had an officer indicted for killing a black person with no witnesses, no body cameras, because it wasn't happening before then. And for me, it was it came at an interesting time because prior to 2020, prior to spring, summer 2020.
Yeah, that's when all the demonstrations.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I had been doing the work for years before then.
The country was on fire.
The country was on fire.
Yeah.
And for me, where everyone was kind of down and kind of despondent and trying to figure out what to do, I actually was inspired because folks were finally paying attention. I've been doing the work for years, and it had become somewhat depressing because I'm like, I see all these issues within the system that are killing us, like literally killing us. And, I'm saying what I'm saying and folks aren't really listening and caring in the same way. And after, George Floyd was killed and the country was on fire, I was saying the same thing and people were actually listening. And, I felt like we could actually make some progress at that point. So when Casey was killed in December, the city was on fire. There is some, I'll say that in that moment, I felt like this is a civil rights movement right here. Just the energy, how scary it was. I mean, we had white supremacists in the street as well. Yeah. We had some folks with automatic, rifles as I'm going up to speak at a podium. And I'm like, well, I guess if I'm a martyr at this moment right here is that moment, but I got to speak. And it's kind of been that way for years now. So fast forward through the years, you've had, took a year to get an indictment. It took years further to get a trial. And then the first trial was a hung jury. Yep. There were nine folks. Yeah, 9 folks that wanted to convict for murder, 3 that didn't. And then in this trial, we had another hung murder charge, but we got a conviction on reckless homicide. So it just shows that like the journey to justice is never straight. It's never what it should be. He should have been indicted pretty much immediately, you know, once they completed the investigation after a few months. The trial should have happened and the family should have been able to heal. But, you know, eventually we got the conviction. We also were able to get a settlement with Franklin County for $7 million. Also, I think the most in the country for a situation with no witnesses, no body camera, you know, most ever. And what it does is like it allows the family to not only heal, but to feel like, you know, someone cares, like the system actually worked for them in a way. I mean, he should be alive. Casey should be alive. Absolutely. But his family is not left down and out and despondent. And on the flip side of that, I've represented so many people who have been in a situation where they didn't get justice, where they, you know, did not get a civil settlement, you know, no criminal judgment. And so it's been a lot. And I'll say that Black people and folks who, you know, are empathetic to our issues, they're supportive, they're empowered, they feel like this is a moment, you know, of justice and progress for us. And I've been also enlightened to, you know, some folks on the other side who oppose it, you know, with as much venom as we have pride. And they've come out. So, you know, right now it's at a point where I'm still kind of processing. You know, it's been a 6-year journey, almost 6-year journey, 5.5 years. And it's not over yet, you know, still sentencing and possible retrial on the, you know, murder charge. But it does feel like we have a sense of progress and a mission going forward. And also, you know, when I started doing this work, 2015, 2016-ish, we had never had an officer in modern history indicted for killing someone, you know, in the line of duty. Since then, we've had 5 who have been tried for murder. All 5 weren't my cases. I've touched in different ways each of those cases. And it does feel good to be at a point where it seems to be happening a bit less in these crazy circumstances because we set the example, and that's what we do it for, so that it does not happen anymore. You know, it's not something that we want to make an industry out of. We want to stop it.
To work yourself out of a job,
and that is the goal. And I say it all the time, right? You know, at least in that field, right? Like, you know, because it means that you've made impactful change. But we have made a lot of systemic change as well along the way. A lot of the ways that people are policed in this city, it's changed. So it's been a journey, and that's been one of my proudest cases for many reasons. And a big part of it is, again, the timing, 2020 to now, and also just the fact that it's a first in American history in many ways.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It hasn't been said a lot, you know, and I try not to say it.
Listen, somebody has to be the first.
Somebody has to say it, and that's what I realized.
You can leave it to me to say. You know, I mean, your head is down and you're grinding to get things done. And so I'll shout that. You know, that's very important. That's going to be in the correct history books.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, in the real history books. And I think about your dynamic little girls who will likely make their own history in some way. Will know that this was my daddy. My daddy fought. My daddy.
Yeah, and this case has spanned their life. I mean, my oldest is 10 and my youngest is 8. Yeah. And so when this happened, they were 4 and 2.
Do they know their family?
Yeah, they know about it. They've played with Casey's nieces and nephews, and you know, we've been very much in community with each other. And I try to do that with all my clients to the extent I can. You know, because I think that's a part of helping folks heal, is to know that, you know, you're not just a case, you're not just a number, you're in community with us. And so, and also because I'm taken out of the house a lot, so you know, I want to be around my family still. And so my family, I commend my wife, I commend my daughters, because they are strong. They deal with so much, you know, just vicariously, but they are powerful in their own right. Yeah.
You said a few things I want to touch on. I hope I don't forget where I'm going, but you talked about being at the podium with people with assault rifles. Yeah. And so I can imagine that you deal with threats on, certainly if they're happening in person, they're probably happening online or in other ways. Is it common? And are they, how credible do you feel they are?
Yeah, so it's been increasing a lot lately. And, you know, 2020 step into the podium at different places. You would have armed white people, Proud Boys, whatever. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you'd have, different people in the community step into the perimeter to kind of guard the perimeter and stand, there. And so, it feels very much like a real civil rights movement. And that extends to the thoughts of death. I mean, that's real, especially when you understand that what you're doing is potentially powerful, and disruptive to folks who do not want their way of life or the system that we are oppressed under to be touched. And, that thought of death, I mean, you think about a lot of our really powerful leaders throughout time, they didn't get to grow old. And, it's something that you should not have to think about or deal with, but it's been increasing a bit. And I don't plan to be a martyr. And so I, take additional safety precautions.
I'm like, I didn't see security when you came in the front door.
Yeah. Well, I've been
about that later. I'm like, you should probably have security.
That's what I'm hearing a lot more. And I've been engaging some folks and, kind of working through that. And it's tough because like you want to just live a regular life. And unfortunately, people don't allow for that. But I've gotten hate mail a lot after my last few public high-profile cases. Takaya Young, 21-year-old pregnant woman who was, shot and killed in a Kroger parking lot. Very unfortunate. Did not get a conviction on that. We did get an indictment. Again, first time in history, an officer has been indicted for killing a pregnant woman on duty in American history. And it's progress, but we should have got a conviction on that. But in aftermath of that, a bunch of hate mail, racial, terminology, my picture on things. I mean, it gets real personal. And I know, I try to shield my family from it, but also to make sure that they're protected. Public. Yeah, it's public, right? And so, and then
I know old guys calling you a poverty pimp.
And
what it feels like in your house.
Yeah, and it's unfair to them for sure. Unfair to me. It comes with the territory, and I'm built for it. I definitely wish that they didn't have to deal with it. But at the same time, like we live a joyous life, we love each other, we love our people, we love people, period. And it's the balance there. So, I mean, as long as I don't actually get a real tangible threat, I mean, to this point, they haven't been. I'm also a sleuth myself, so I feel like I'm on to, some of the folks who have sent some of the stuff. And I have ties with law enforcement too. So I will snitch. I will. Absolutely.
Listen,
So,
I'm not mad at that. You got those beauties to protect. But you say you're built for it. But I as the more I'm getting to know Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's built for it
too.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these two little powerful queens you're raising. Let me tell you, your family's anointed. You're called to this. And I think, when I think about how do you push through those things when you've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old and your wife is building her business as well, and you're becoming increasingly public in this highly polarized, vitriolic, violent time in our nation. So it's the reason to move forward has got to be in the gut, in the heart.
Yeah.
And, I know a little bit about your story. Can you tell me about like how this became your lane? I looked at all these awards. You could be doing a whole bunch of things, making a whole bunch of more money. Yeah. I'm sure you're doing well, but there's levels to this thing, right? Yeah. And but you're choosing passion and advocacy. Yeah. Say more about what caused that. Where'd that come from?
It's my life's work, and honestly, I shout out my family, my parents, for what they instilled in me. That sense of pride in myself. I was actually skipped 2 grades in elementary school, so I went from 2nd grade to 4th grade. I was just talking about this on a panel this past weekend, but just how, they said I was acting out, and instead of placing me, like punishing me, they actually embraced me and said, you know what, he's actually just, he needs more challenge. Yeah. So ended up getting skipped.
That's fortunate that doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Yeah. And I make sure I say that exactly, for that reason. So I say that because, it could have easily flipped and I would not have this same sense of pride and sense of self. But, I knew the things in my mind were embraced and I was considered, smart, if you will. So I started middle school at 10, high school at 12, graduated at 16, went to college at 16. Cincinnati, from Dayton. I'm from Dayton, went down to Cincinnati for undergrad. My parents actually had me at 16 and 17. My mom was 16, dad was 17. So when I went to college, my mom was 32. My dad was 33. And yeah, for sure. But for as young as they were very mature. And again, they instilled in me a love for people, especially Black people, and understanding of how the world works. And so with that, I got to college and knew I wanted to help people. Started off pre-med, realized I did not want to take science classes or undergrad.
We shared that in common.
Exactly. Yeah. So, quickly shifted there, but I wanted to help people. And it shifted to being an attorney. It started off criminal defense, but then after law school, I got exposed to personal injury and the ability to help people without having to charge them money up front. We get paid on the back end when we win. It feels very much like Robin Hood, where you're, reallocating money for wrongdoing. You're actually kind of, making things right. So I fell in love with that. But to back up, all through high school, undergrad, law school, I was always in leadership roles. And I did not choose that route, consciously, but I just had a passion and a vision. And I think those are the things. And I've also not been afraid to step into those roles. And I think that throughout my life, I've always been able to look back and say that everything that I've done has prepared me for the moment that I'm in. And that's where I'm at right now. I mean, it's a short, show, so I won't get too into detail about some of the things I've done. But like in law school, for example, I started an online magazine called The Fresh Express, and this was when President Obama had just been elected. But throughout that year, I had saw young Black people engaging in political conversation, inspired by Obama, like we had never seen before. And on Facebook, for example, you just started to see the statuses that were more in depth, it was evolving. And I said, man, this is something that we have to keep going. And so the Fresh Express, the tagline was the voice of young Black America. I had writers all over the country. I would stay up at night and just read different bloggers, read their work. And if I liked it, I would offer them an invitation to join our blog network. It's kind of like HuffPo, if you will. Yeah. And so I actually met Jennifer that way.
Wow.
Jennifer was a writer, found her blog, asked her blog partner if I could use the content, I didn't know who was who. I just, hit the info at whatever. And I started using the content on the website, and Jennifer actually received one of the articles we posted through her friend group, her email group. And she contacted me like, hey, this is mine. What's up? Her partner had not told her that I had, permission to post the stuff. But then, I was like, okay, who is this, right? So I clicked on it. I was, okay, she's cute, And we were friends for months. And she was one of my favorite writers. I made her an editor. She became the ghost editor in chief, my closest advisor. And eventually we started dating.
That's a neat story. No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we won.
I love how nerd encounters turn into
exactly. Yeah. We were just
kind of like Eric and I. We met in the library.
Yeah. We were two people online. She was blogging. Yeah. I'm trying to get folks talking about different things, politics, culture, love, all the things. And it became a lot. And so, but I did that through law school. In undergrad, I was in student government. I was, vice president of the Black Student Association, fraternity, all the things. So I didn't know what it was, prepping me for, but I knew that I loved advocating for people. Yeah. And even at my young age back then, I didn't know fully like what I was doing or the right steps, but it's prepared me for right now to where, I can navigate some things that probably feel a lot more daunting to others than it does for me. Okay. But I've operated at a high level in different ways for a long time, just advocating for people. So at the end of the day, my hope is that everybody can live happy, free lives, be able to pursue our dreams and to do those things. And early on, I recognized with my upbringing, West Dayton, public schools, you know, I was skipped, but I was still around the people. Meadowdale High School.
Yep. My cousins went to Meadowdale. My mom graduated from Dunbar.
Yeah, okay.
Back in the day. So
Dayton Public Schools.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've had exposure on all fronts. And I recognize, man, like probably at the start of college, like my role is to be a bridge, like a voice for the voiceless, and to be an advocate and to be in rooms where I can speak to folks that, you know, are not typically given access to my people in that way and our issues.
So interesting, because just about everybody, probably in every college entrance or high school, whatever, says, I just want to help people, right? I just want to help people. I said that too, and I meant it, right? But when your life bears it out, it wasn't well, I just like people, want to help people. It's like, no, I'm going to put myself, my reputation, my energy, my time behind helping people. And that carries that's different. That carries a level of power. I think that's why you've been able to have the results that you've had. And you said it doesn't feel as big a leap for you as it may be for others, or it may seem for others. I find that I appreciate that bit of your history. Another thing I want to touch on with all of this, and you talk about, you know, your family pays a bit of a price for it. You're gone a lot. You know, I'm sure that's kind of periodic. There are times when you're in a trial and it's probably real intense versus others. And I know there's some entrepreneurial things I want to make sure to mention as well. So how do you manage your mental health? How do you keep yourself healthy? How do you help your family to maintain a healthy perspective, a healthy mental status? Do you have
a therapist?
Things you do? Okay,
You know, off and on over the years, you know, like it hasn't been straight through, but I make sure I tap in and try to, you know, foster that as a culture. You know, too often we don't talk through things. So I do recognize some things, and having a therapist has helped me. You know, for example, I was diagnosed with vicarious trauma through PTSD.
Sure.
Which I didn't know was a thing, you know, but over the years I had, you know, because in order to be an advocate for my clients and some of the most traumatic situations that I have to place myself in their shoes, you know, and I have to understand all that they're going through, and to take on that pain, you know, and to figure out how to build it into power for them. And I did that for so long without recognizing that's what I was doing. And so now I at least recognize it, and I can better balance it. I try to just stay active in different ways. I'm powered up by people, you know, for sure. Like being around people, this right here, like it's inspiring to me as well. And I would say like really maintaining a positive outlook. Like it's really hard sometimes. You know, and at home, you know, obviously we're thinking about all of the possible scenarios for anything, like if it's, you know, a threat, if it's whatever, but understanding that we're going to end up on both the right side of history and the right side of these situations, you know, and so whatever needs to happen to, like I said, if it's staying safe and, you know, whatever, then we'll do that. And, you know, I won't let anybody steal my joy or my family's joy. And so balance is important. I've always, through all that I've done, I've always had the mantra, you know, work hard, play hard. And it's, you know, harder to maintain the play hard nowadays, but it looks different. You know, it's getting away, it's traveling a little bit. It's appreciating all the things that life has to offer. So just balance and staying positive and just pushing forward. And it's worked for me for 40 years now. You know, I've been on a 40-year sprint. And I don't know how long, you know, it'll last, but I know that impact has been made in different places, and that feels good.
Listen, for real, and I think real impact multiplies even when you have multipliers out there. There are people who are watching you. There are young brothers who see what you do, who say, I can do that too, because it has this kind of impact. And I love that you say, I have a therapist that I tap in with. Listen, I'm a therapist and I have a therapist. Matter of fact, I tell my clients when they're new, I'm like, do you want to ask me about my mental health? Because I would not go to a therapist who's never been to therapy. Right? So I think it's important. And I love that. I love that you speak that with, tap in when I need to tap in. And it's been helpful. I think that's good. That's one of those things that I'm like, I want the people to hear. And you talk about your sprint, and I can appreciate the sprint while you can sprint. But I also want to I can't help it. The big sister and therapist in me comes out. It's like I really want to emphasize for you those moments of pause. Pause is so important. And unfortunately, you will not run out of cause. Not anytime soon. Anyway.
I mean the
powers that be have it. There will be cause. Right. And so as you are running this race and living it out loud and inspiring others to do the same, there may be times that you let somebody else take this one.
Well, and I'll say, like, even with the NAACP, that is
thank
something.
You for bringing that. I want to get to that.
So I'm the president-elect. I think it's president now. I'm not sworn in officially, but you know, I can move with presidential authority from nationals, and but even that, you know, some folks see that as like taking on a lot more, which in some ways it is. But for me, I've seen through my cases, through my work, just friends, you know, family, all the things that we're lacking systemically in terms of our own system and our own network of how we operate and how we build. Important. And so, like, you know, after or in the aftermath of a traumatic situation for my client, I recognize all the different levers I have to pull and activate each time, instead of it being kind of automatic for us as a people that we have certain things in place, whether it's like a rapid response, you know, to different moments of crisis, you know, where we can activate mental health support, where we can activate what institutional resources should be offered to a family in any given situation. So for me, I want to build something where we're all better supported. We have better community, better culture, but then also we have an organization that we can believe in as a source of power for us, you know.
It's certainly got historical gravitas.
Yeah, and I think that it's like a sleeping giant that if we awaken can really be powerful. Yeah, and so for me, like that's not taking it all on alone, because we have officers, we have committee chairs, we have committee members. And through all these years, I've heard people say, you know, how can I help? How can I get involved? And I struggle with the answer, because I'm like, you know, I'm working on a case-by-case basis. I can't hire you. I can tell you to go join this group, but I have no influence over that group. Now, I'm hoping that we build something. There are 22 committees, you know, there can be special committees and task force. And I want to establish something where no matter what you do, your talent can be used, your time, you know. I say time, talent, treasure, touch, and trust. Like those are my 5 T's there. But touch and trust. It's important, right? Yes. You know, you know, time, talent, treasure, but touch somebody, bring them in, recruit them, you know, put an arm around their shoulder.
Is what I've been hearing.
Join the movement. Exactly. Join the movement and trust each other. We don't trust each other enough. We doubt each other.
We
got to know each other. And I've just even been more exposed to a lot more division even within our communities than I realized was there. And we got to trust each other. Like it's some folks who don't trust me, and I'm like, y'all don't even understand that. It's hard for me to defend myself in that moment, because I trust is baked into me, like my trust for people, and just the hope that they'll trust me, because I truly have our people's best interests in mind.
I believe that. And when you look at all that you're doing, all those places, I hear your 5 T's, and I know that part of your entrepreneurial, you and Jennifer's entrepreneurial enterprises are about touch.
Yeah.
They're about touch and trust. So grinding ground, and you drop it. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Yeah. So grind, as we call it for short, it's a community space, social club. Just it's based on people, and it's still evolving. We started as a co-working space. We're doing less of that now, just because as things shift, there's less of a need for that. But what we understand is that it's a place for conversation, culture, care, and community, and that's the focus there. You can rent it; it's an event rental space, but it's been pretty cool because of all that has happened there, from birthday parties to political fundraisers to celebrations. Prosecutor Favor had her watch night party there, so it's been a great 3 years there. And then we're actually opening up a Columbus location of Nostalgia Wine and Jazz Lounge. It's actually the original location is in Cincinnati, and so we're bringing a location here to Columbus, hopefully opening late summer.
Okay.
And it'll be located in Franklinton, West Broad, and that's our current location. So we're finalizing that right now. Okay. But it's exciting because it's again about culture, it's about community, and it's about us having places to be in community and to feel joy with each other. Like, that's real big, and I think that's really one of our balancing points. Jennifer and I, and even the girls, because they're owners as well, as they let everybody know. They are co-owners. They don't pay any bills yet, but they
I get it.
They clean. I
get it.
But yeah, I mean, you'll love it. Certainly I'll have to return the favor. You
Please.
Made this drink. We'll have to figure out what wine you like.
Okay.
But like I said, I think for me, one thing that I want people to understand is, like, you don't have to be boxed in to any kind of stereotype or role.
That's for the camera. I told you that might be something for the camera. That's for telling
there
people
we go.
what now.
Yeah. Don't feel boxed into, or typecast into what people want you to be or expect you to be. Be what's true to you. Be true to your heart. Be true to your passion. Be true to your spirit. And I think that's what can keep you moving forward and just flourishing in life. And doing your part to leave an impact in this world, whatever it looks like. And so I think for as much as we are focused on, community impact, whether it's Walton and Brown or Sky Nile Consulting, it's also about the betterment of life for people. And sometimes it's just the social aspect of being in community, feeling safe, having safe spaces. Like, that's really what's needed in this crazy, divisive world. I certainly, I originally ran for president of the NAACP here in Columbus, thinking that Kamala was going to be president, not expecting that, it would shift there. And the same for the cases, right? So I'm very much the face of, a lot of hatred right now. Sure. And safe spaces are important. And, whether it's supporting those safe spaces or helping to create those safe spaces, like, that's what it's about. So Nostalgia Wine and Jazz Lounge, coming late summer, Ground and Grind. You'll hear more about our next steps there. There may be another surprise there as well that I can't say quite yet, but it involves a local legend.
I'm gonna be lurking,
Yes,
so I can get the exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely, you'll be there. Yeah, but I appreciate that because, like you said, there are separate, entrepreneurial journeys that we're on.
They're separate, but they're all in your pillars.
Yep.
They're very much in your pillars.
Yep.
So I love it. Yeah. I have a fondness in my heart for you and your wife and your girls, even from a distance. I'm not in the deep community, but my eyes have been on you, and you make me proud, and you're in my prayers, and in any way that I can support what you're doing, it is my privilege to do so. Yeah. So we'll make sure everything is linked when this is released. And people can check out. Well, we'll make sure I get whatever media. I'll get it from Jennifer. I know she's not doing all this stuff. And we'll make sure that you're represented well. Yeah. But I just am grateful to hear your heart from you.
I appreciate that.
I suspect it. But to hear your heart from you is a real privilge. Well, and I know. I know it's going to be good. I know that there'll be some conversions, because a lot of times we say we hate because we just don't know. It's easier to judge than to engage. And so I imagine with what influence I do have, that I'll lend myself to some support as opposed to that hesitant kind of pull away. Yeah. And
change some hearts and minds
maybe
for me.
Maybe so. Just plant some seeds, you know. It's up to folk to change their own hearts and their own minds.
True story.
But it also takes courage. It's hard to change your mind. Yeah. Right? You got to decide to change your mind.
That's it.
And
That's
you got
so
to put
true.
one foot in front of the other to change your direction.
Yep.
And so I think you've been an amazing example of that. And you're still young. Talk about 40. Pshaw.
You know what?
Yeah, come on. But cool. I guess you qualify as a grown.
You know.
Anywho, listen, this has been amazing.
Oh, yeah,
you've seen me ignore my time calls constantly, so we're going to wrap it up. But I had a feeling that I still feel like I just touched. So don't be surprised if I tap you. I said, I'll
come back. I'll come back. You know, so much more to discuss.
I would love that. Thank you so much. And so, folks, like I said in the beginning, I am confident, I really am, that there's something you heard in this exchange, something you saw in this brother's eyes and in his heart that lets you know what you can do. Let you know what you can do. Shake something up in your own life and make a difference, all right? Oh, hang on. We got to talk about the drink.
Oh, yeah.
We got to talk about the drink. This is the shaker. This part's the shaker. So I made, very much unmeasured and on the fly, a blueberry bourbon smash. And so I took a little bit of blueberry, some mint, some simple syrup, a little bit of lemon juice, muddled it, added bourbon until I didn't. Some of use Maker's Mark, and topped it with some ginger beer garnish with a little lemon and blueberries. All right.
Yeah. Fresh mint.
Yeah, fresh mint. Yes, very fresh from my little mint jar. So, blessings. All right, until next time.